Everyone, it's John McCracken here, the Lone Biker. I'm cycling in Moray in the North East Highlands. Why don't you join me as I complete the sportive, no rules, just ride Moray 100. So I'm here for the No Rules Just Ride Moray 100 and we're just waiting at the headquarters to get the event briefing. Cycling in a brand new part of the world today, so this should be fun, interesting. Weather looks like it's going to hold up, so we'll listen into the event briefing and I'll check in with you out on the road.
But you'll meet Laura and you'll meet Eddie, so please stop there, get hydrated or refreshed. And then basically it follows on as lead and you'll be straight back out to Lossy. If the wind is not...
Well, here we are at the start. It's in a wee industrial estate, so it's not the most scenic of starts, but I drove on the road here today, like yesterday, and it looks like it's going to be fantastic. We've got some sunshine as well. It's got the gilet in the back pocket just in case, but this should be fun. So let me tell you a wee bit about today's ride. It is called the No Rules Just Ride Moray 100, and I was actually invited to this by Kevin, who's running today's event. It's a run to raise funds for Prostate Cancer UK, which is, you know, if you've been watching my videos recently, I've been doing fundraising for, because I'm riding the Tour de Four for Chris Hoy in September. I'm actually wearing that jersey today. I thought it was apt. And also Jim Sutherland, a member of my club, recently passed away after a brave fight against it. So we're 100 miles today, starting and finishing in Elgin, through Speyside I think it is, in Moray. So this should be lovely. Brand new roads that I have never cycled on before. So there's a right turn coming up, so I'm just going to stop talking just now so I can concentrate on the road. That's us off the A96, which is actually the main road between Aberdeen to Inverness, so needed to concentrate there, not film. But beautiful bit of the world. Now I've been further north and cycled a bit, if you've seen my videos, up in Ross and Cromarty. It's a favourite place in the world for me, and I've visited Elgin for the day as a child. But never cycled in the area, so I'm going to get some good wanderer miles in this ride. So I'm looking forward to the day. Apparently there's some excellent feed stops along the route, and yesterday when I was driving in, there was literally a whisky distillery every 14 feet. So I'll try and get some of them in if I can, although I'm not a whisky fan and I don't think it would be an idea to stop and have a dram while I was out on the bike anyway. But we're on to some nice quiet roads, I think, so let's enjoy them for a wee while. Well, that's our first 20k for the day, and some nice rolling miles. Nothing too strenuous so far. Kept the gilet on, as there is a kind of cool wind, but enjoying this rolling road just now, and the road surfaces are pretty good too. So that's us entering the village of Rothes, and we have our first distillery, Speyside Distillery. And I think I drove through Rothes yesterday, I'm not quite sure, but I know it's quite a famous wee village. I think that must be the processing plant. Into my left there. But this is Rothes, and we've hit it just at the 20-kilometre mark. Now we've got our first wee climb of the day. We're heading to a town called Archiston. If you look at the actual sign, if you weren't from Scotland, there's lots of places like this, it looks like it's called Archiestown, and maybe it is, but Archiston's how you pronounce it. It's one of those things about Scotland, I suppose the Welsh would know it as well. There's a place name that looks like it says one thing and it's actually something different. Well, for those of you that like a wee Macallan, here's the Macallan Distillery. Told you there was lots on here. Don't drink whisky, but I've heard of Macallan. Well, that was our first real climb of the day. It's quite a wee toughie, but a nice road surface, a nice bit of forest to go through. So, quite enjoyable. Into a wee bit of a headwind now. I'm not quite sure what way the wind is blowing. Knowing my luck, it'll be in my face all day. But you know what, it's a sportive, it's not a race. So let's enjoy the scenery. I just saw a sign again for another place. Kind of the place name you'll only get in Scotland. Knock-and-do. Sounds like the kind of place groundskeeper Willie comes from The Simpsons. Here we are in Archiston, or Archiestown. Wonder if we'll see Archie. Who knows? You can maybe play a game instead of where's Wally, where's Archie?
Are you two brothers? You definitely look like brothers from the nose down.
Thank you for that. Oh, there's a man down.
Well, here we are at the first food stop, and what a beautiful food stop it is. I've never had some folk music played at a food stop before. This lovely wee guitar and fiddle there, and lovely flapjack, a wee slice of orange, just like the old days of playing football, oranges at half time. Although technically we're only quarter time, but beautiful so far. And haven't seen Archie yet, but his town is beautiful.
How cool is that? Did you get that in Ayrshire?
Right, first food stop done. Live entertainment, brilliant. And a toilet at the village hall. Everything you need. Good food, entertainment and a toilet. Right, on with the day. Thank you, Archiston. No sign of Archie though. Well, we've got some sun. There is still a wee bit of a chill to that wind, mind you. There's a heat wave across the south of the UK. It's not quite hitting us up north yet, and we are quite considerably up north. Did notice it last night that it did seem to be lighter a wee bit longer than it was down in the central belt of Scotland. Used to remember that coming on holidays up here as well, that used to come on holiday up here mid-July up to Rochester, and the sun almost never set. But the sun is out just now, not putting the gilet on because it's just not that quite cold yet, and it probably did cool down a bit at the stop. But we've got some beautiful scenery. Fields of barley, probably for the whisky. The wind's not playing ball just now, but let's just enjoy the scenery. We are in No Can Do, and up here, another famous distillery. This is the Cardew facility, Cardew Distillery. I've heard of Cardew whisky, so there you go. Well, we can't quite see it from where we are, but we just passed the sign for another distillery, another famous one, the Glenlivet, which again I've heard of. If you did a tour up here and had a wee dram at every single one, I think the police would have something to say. That's actually the law enforcement police, not the one with Sting as the lead singer, just in case you were wondering. Although they might have something to say about it, you never know. For a while we've been cycling in this beautiful forest. It seems to be part of a massive estate, but it is gorgeous. We've passed the River Spey, the beautiful big deep valley there. It's just what you imagine the Cairngorms and Speyside to be. The Highlands over on the east coast are very much different from the ones on the west coast. They're both spectacular in equal measure, but in very different ways. The Cairngorm Mountains are more rolling, with lots of the pine forest like this, whereas the west coast tend to be jagged and rugged in a completely different way. But I've never really cycled over this way before, so it is spectacular and I'm really enjoying it. Just taking my time and enjoying the day. I kind of lost the rest of the cyclists because I went to the loo at the last food stop and they'd all went away, but I don't mind, I might catch some of them, who knows. I am the lone biker after all, so here I am on my lonesome, in the trail of the lonesome pine, as Laurel and Hardy once said. There's a reference you might only get if you're 70 plus. Anyway, I'm going to continue enjoying this scenery. Well, here's a wee section as well where the road appears to go through a castle. Lovely. Now, we're getting a wee bit of speed up now. I don't think we've exactly got a tailwind yet, but what it isn't is directly in our face. And if I'm correct, we are starting to head northwards again. We've done south and we've headed west and we're starting to head north. I think the next big town we come to is Forres. We've opened out into moorland and all the heather. Recently, part of this area of Scotland had a huge wildfire, and you can see why, because after a heat wave, this area can just be bone dry and just spark so easily. Sadly, it's mostly caused by people throwing cigarette butts away or starting them on purpose, which is ridiculous. There's a beautiful part. This road must be quite exposed in the winter time, because just a while ago I passed the big gates that said road closed, because across Scotland there are segments of road like this where the police will come and just close the road if it starts to snow, because it can get deep and dangerous very quick here. But today, not so much. Beautiful scenery. I love that colour of the heather, just that purple haze. Not sure that's what Jimi Hendrix was singing about, but we've got it today. Could have waited just a few seconds. No.
He did the same way, and he got to Lossie, so he was having a break just as I drove home from work. And I went, "You're right." And he went, "No, I've run out of water. Come round to the house then." So he was like, "Oh, that was perfect timing. We could stop up." He's lost that people getting quite close. Yeah. Thank you.
Then can go. New food stop here, everybody tucking into some rolls, and I think I'll tuck into one myself.
I'm running after it. It's going to traumatise people.
Cheers, that's magic.
There's egg meal.
Wee coronation chicken roll.
It killed that wee climb that.
Right, we're all fed up. A coronation chicken roll. I haven't had one of them for ages. It's a favourite of mine. And there's plenty left for the next stop, so looking forward to another one. Scenery and coronation chicken. What more can you ask for in a ride? So maybe I've been mistaken, because that round this bend takes you to Forres, but we're heading this way to Nairn. Maybe we do go to Forres, I don't know. I can't remember from checking the map. But we are now in Nairnshire, which I wasn't aware existed. There's a beautiful wee bridge here, absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Whee! This is the tourist route to Inverness, which obviously you can take as opposed to the A9. The A9 does have some nice scenery, but I suppose if you want to take it a wee bit slower, this is the way to go. So that says 80 kilometres, so that's halfway. This is a beautiful bit of road we're on, and we've got a kind of side stroke tailwind which is just blowing us along nicely. So really enjoying this segment. Whenever I do a big ride like this, I always feel terrible in the first 30-40k, and it's usually round about this mark that I feel a lot better, and I'm feeling that today. Certainly a coronation chicken sandwich helps. But halfway mark past, I've got this beautiful countryside to look at. Right, we're entering the beautiful village of Inverness, and I think we're just going to fire straight through it. It looks like a nice downhill. Just made a right turn off the Highland tourist route road, and it's that way where the wind is at your back, and you know it's at your back because that constant that you've had for a couple of hours just disappears all of a sudden. I'm hoping my mic has picked up everything I've said and not but I'm really enjoying this route today. There's no mentally large hard climbs. It is actually really enjoyable, and the road surfaces have all been good so far, and the drivers have been respectful apart from one who drove to overtake other cyclists. And to me, you maybe saw it in the video, strange that people do that because there was nothing behind them and nothing behind me. It would have been so easy just to wait. Alas, patience is a virtue that many people don't have. But we're back off the main road for a wee while, which although wasn't busy, it does mean it's nice to be in these quiet back roads. They're my favourite. I don't know if you can see it, but there's the sea. There is the Moray Firth, and I think over that way is the Black Isle, and over up here is Ross and Cromarty. It's an area close to my heart because that's where I holidayed when I was young, and I love it there. And I think away out in the distance there, you'll not be able to see it in the camera, but I think I can see Tarbert Lighthouse, which is near Port Mahomet where I went on holiday. And over here there are two big headlands here, and the gap in between them takes you into the Cromarty Firth, and that's where the oil rigs go to get serviced and everything. And the two big hills either side of the entrance to the Cromarty Firth are called the Souters. One thing I have noticed about this area is the abundance of absolutely beautiful houses that have been built here. And I can understand why, because the scenery is beautiful. But wow, look at that. What a place. Yeah, you could have your own gymkhana as well. I'm sure the two are related. Ah, alas, it's sold. Oh well, I'll wait for the next one to come up. Just past a sign for Coolban. Now, and I was kind of cycling on the edges of a forest called Coolban Forest, and there's a wee Ayrshire connection there. Not just that I've been there and it's a nice wee forest to go to, but it's a pine forest built on sand dunes, and it's a man-made forest because the sand dunes were blown all over the place and disappearing, so they planted the pine forest. This is a potted history, by the way, somebody will have better information, but they planted the forest to stop the sand dunes completely disappearing. A whole village actually had been buried in the sand dunes, but it was opened officially in the 60s by the Secretary of State for Scotland, who at the time was called Willie Ross, and Willie Ross was the MP for Kilmarnock and Loudon and the Secretary of State for Scotland. And also, where I grew up in New Farm, I grew up in an area called the Courts, and all the courts were named after famous Scots. I lived in Livingston Court, and there was a Niven and a Balfour, etc. But they built some new houses at the time, and they named them Willie Ross Place. So there you go, wee bit of trivia there that links Coolban to Ayrshire, my home ground, so to speak. Right, we are at kilometre 112. So we've got about 30 miles still to go. Here's one of our yellow signs we're following. And I'm still really enjoying this day out, especially because we're getting lots of lovely tails and lots of lovely roads like this. I love the fields of barley and that golden colour with the gorse bush at the side. Absolutely gorgeous. And I hope you're enjoying it too. And remember, if you are enjoying it, like and subscribe. Here we are, we're in Forest. Haven't seen the mechanics yet, but we are here. Not Forest, there's no T. And I think we might just be skirting round it. But edge of a town, not the most beautiful scenery of the day, but fun nonetheless. Now what we have up here is another distillery. This is one of the famous ones, the Ben Romach. And there we go. Another distillery for today's ride. You probably could plot a ride round here that would dot all the distilleries together, but as I said before, don't have a drama each one. I've been led to believe a Ben Romach 10 is lovely, but there you go. Also does gin. My wife would like that. Here we go. Here we go, our third and final food stop. Hope there's Coronation chicken left. Oofed! So those of you that are not familiar, with Scottish cuisine. We do have things like haggis and salmon and cranachan and beautiful fresh vegetables, but you also have the macaroni pie. Only the Scots would take macaroni cheese and put it in a pie, so basically a lardy crust. I think about 9 million calories. The Italians that invented macaroni were rolling in their grave, but it tastes good and I'm going to enjoy it. Right, macaroni pie and water imbibed, bottles filled up, last push. We are at kilometre number 122, so that's roughly 40k to go, 25 miles. We can do that, especially now that we're full of macaroni. Fun times. Well, we are entering the town of Burghead. I'm probably pronouncing it totally wrong. We kind of double backed on ourselves. We saw the sign for Elgin saying 8 miles, and I knew we had more than 8 miles to go, but we've double backed through a nice forest and into a town I have never been to before, ever. And on the outskirts we actually passed Burghead Thistle FC's ground, which looked like a nice wee place to go and watch a football match, maybe one to return to at a later date. Anyway, this is Burghead. It seems like quite a nice wee place. And this is going to take us down to the coast. And I think we're going to follow the coast for a few miles on the way back, and there's the Moray Firth in front of us again. Now the Souters now are away over in that direction. We're looking straight through the Souters. Technically the Moray Firth is over there as well, where the Souters begin. On one side it's the when the water passes between the Souters, that's the Cromarty Firth. And then the other side of the Souter, the Black Isle, to the mainland, that's the Moray Firth. So technically what's in front of us now is actually the North Sea. So we'll not be going for a dip today. It would rather cool. It's rather cool all year round, it being of the North Sea. Now I don't know if some rapscallion has removed a sign or not, but I seem to be in a coastal cycle path and I'm not sure if I'm on the right way, but it does say cycle path, so we should be fine. And it is beautiful because we're right next to the North Sea and with a tailwind. Look at that. Just Sutherland away in the distance over there. Beautiful. Well, as accidental detours go, this one's actually quite lovely. A nice wee cycle path next to the coast, through the gorse bushes, right in the North Sea. It's maybe not so beautiful or as weather friendly November through to February, but let's enjoy this wee detour. Well, we're back on trail and I've got hope because I am in a village called Hopeman. Yes, the cycle path that I was on, it was lovely tarmac, turned into rubble. Just as the Wahoo redirected me back on course. I don't know if some local scallywag in Burghead has moved a sign, but it happens. It's happened in my sportive. It can be annoying, but that's why it pays to have a good GPS route for everybody to have. I am glad that I am cycling in this direction because right now I am freewheeling at 38 kilometres an hour, so you can't beat that. It was a nice of the organisers, it was nice of Kevin to organise a tailwind for the vast majority of the end of the route. That's always a bonus, and I hope he keeps that going for next year. And there's a wee lighthouse over there. I always like a lighthouse. There's a golf course in there as well too. I like a wee lighthouse. I think this is Lossiemouth we're heading towards. I think it was an RAF base here. I'm not sure. But I have been to Lossiemouth before, but never on my bicycle. All of today's miles are brand new for me on the bike. In fact, even off the bike, only a few miles, a few places I've been to before. Well, here we are entering the lovely town of Lossiemouth, Jewel of the Moray. Well, we've just left Lossiemouth, or we're on the edge of it, and do you know what? It actually looks like a really nice place. Some beautiful houses, and there's this beautiful forest on the edge. It's RAF Lossiemouth that I think the aeroplanes used to go from that I was talking about earlier. And I think the Americans had a presence there too. Anyway, we're into the last 10 kilometres of the day. That's us heading away from the coast, just on the edge of Lossiemouth. These houses into my left look fantastic, and the forest into the right looks the same. If I had a house there, I would have a wee mountain bike trail built in there. But we're heading back inwards towards Elgin to the finish. And as I always say, if you can get to the last 80% of your ride before you're thinking, I wish this was finished now, it's a good ride. Well, today must be a really good ride because I've made it to the last 10 kilometres out of 160. I'm not going to work out the percentage, but I've done 90 odd percent of the route roughly. That's a good ride. The wind was not too much of a hindrance when it was in our face or to the side, and it's been a fantastic help at the end. So let's enjoy the final bits of scenery and these beautiful pine woods as we head back towards Elgin, and I will check in with you at the end. Miles to go, and this is us heading into the outskirts of Elgin. We're nearly there. Woohoo! So here we are, back at the end. Got my medal. I'm going to check in with you back at the hotel because I'm done in, but that was great. So we're back in the hotel room, we're showered and we are relaxed, and we are resplendent with a lovely medal that we got for taking part today. Big thank you to Kevin for inviting me up here. I wouldn't have noticed to come here if he hadn't given me the invite. So a great day out. I really enjoyed that. It's 160 kilometres of brand new roads today, which is also a big bonus. Now, great roads. I would advise you to come and do this sport if next year if Kevin puts it on again, because it was fantastic roads. They were nice and quiet. They were well surfaced. Every feed stop that he'd organised was real food. Cracking sandwiches, pies, flapjacks, everything superb, well put on. And what a beautiful area it was. It had mountains, it had coastal regions, and it had lots of different distilleries as well. So I hope you enjoyed this wee tour of Moray. It's definitely somewhere I'm going to come and explore again. And I am off now to edit all this footage together to make the video you've just watched. There's just 3 things you need to do. You need to like, subscribe, and get out and ride. See you next time.